In the video today, we're answering a viewer question because Mark C asks us, where did the expression "a penny for your thoughts" come from? The word penny may have come from the English ruler Penda, king of Mencia, an Anglo-Saxon kingdom in today's English Midlands. During his reign from 626 AD to 655 AD, he issued coins that were called pending. To further this hypothesis along, the Old English word for penny is penige. In fact, the Danish still use a word similar to this for their money. Now, if you think that penny came from the Danish word, not the Danish coming from the English, then the word could have something to do with the pans that they used to coin the money. As with most idioms or sayings, no one is exactly sure who first said "a penny for your thoughts" or when, but we do know in this case who was the first to publish it and then who popularized it. In 1522, Sir Thomas More's book Four Last Things was published posthumously. It was a book of meditations on death, God's judgment, pain, and how to combat spiritual diseases. And it is a really uplifting book. Not really. In the book it reads, "As it often happeth that the very face shewth the mind walking a pilgrimage, in such wise that not without some note and reproach of such vagrant mind, other folk suddenly say to them, 'A penny for your thought.'" In other words, a wise man has fallen silent, and in order to garner his wisdom, money is offered. The proverb is used in much the same way today. Despite More's use, the saying didn't seem to gain widespread use until after 1547, with a book written by John Heywood. Heywood is best known as a playwright and a collector of proverbs. Born around 1497, we don't know more because records before the 17th century are pretty spotty on these dates, he began his career as a singer in the Chapel Royal for Henry VIII. His career was going along pretty well. He was singing and he was teaching others to sing, and occasionally he did some acting. In the 1530s, he started writing interludes, which are essentially what we'd call sketches today, small one-act plays which were usually performed within bigger plays. It also didn't hurt that his interludes were usually comedic in nature and poked fun at the very powerful church, despite his own devout Catholic ways. A rather interesting part of this was that Henry VIII was also a devout Catholic, but had been excommunicated from the Roman Catholic Church. So Heywood, he gained favour with the king, but angered clergymen with his barbs in this rather divisive political climate. Either way, in 1546, at the height of his popularity, he wrote a 200-page book entitled "A Dialogue Containing the Number in Effect of all the Proverbs in the English Tongue," which would later become known more simply as the Proverbs and Epigrams of John Heywood. Even though the book is named after him, he never claimed to have made any of these up. He simply collected them so that they would be remembered. As said in the preface of the book, "Remembering and confidering what the pith is, that by remembrance of these proverbs may'll grow." Several well-known proverbs show up in this book, including "Rome was not built in one day," and "All that is well ends well." It also includes "penny for your thoughts," or as written in the book, "Free end, quoth the good man, a penny for your thought." Heywood's political statements within his interludes came back to bite him for a bit when, in 1547, only a year after his book, the 10-year-old son of Henry VIII, Edward, took the throne. With Edward being Protestant, Heywood being Catholic, and taking shots at the church, he thought it was safer to flee to Belgium to live out the rest of his days, which was actually pretty long. He lived for another 33 years. And yes, if you put that all together, essentially he was kicked out of England by a 10-year-old. Now, how much was John Heywood, or any person from the 16th century, offering when he said that he would give them a penny for converting their various neurological, electrical impulses into other electrical impulses that ultimately produced carefully crafted communicative vibrations in the air? Well, according to England's National Archives currency converter, a penny in 1540 would be worth, accounting for inflation, about £1.8 today. Converting that into American dollars, that would be about $2.50, or the price of a McDonald's Happy Meal. So, if someone offers you a penny for your thoughts, using your newfound knowledge, you can attempt to extort a McDonald's Happy Meal out of them before you talk. Although, for your health's sake, maybe in this case, it would be better just to keep your mouth shut. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. And do not forget to subscribe. We've got brand new videos just like this every day of the week. And if that's not enough for you, we also do a weekly podcast. It's called BrainFood. You should definitely check it out. You can search BrainFood in iTunes, in Google, wherever you get your podcasts. That is probably the best way to find it. I think you'll like that show. And as always, thank you for watching.